As we continue on with our adventure today, we're going to move on to what I call the person who is going to help us with our money matters. And this is by the way of our OSO wonderful treasurer, Diana Haskell, who is going to share with us some information about treasurers who are a treasure. Again, let's share with her our silent applause as she comes to us today.
Well, ladies, I'm pretty sure that we all have the 2 o'clock slump. if anyone has a Snickers bar, this is the time to go for it. We're all kind of tired. I know about that. And Michelle yesterday did a great brain break. We might have needed that today, but I know we
I've
can't.
got it.
No.
I didn't think anybody wanted to do it via Zoom, but it is.
No, but it is exactly what we need. So if you would just like to stand up for a minute and stretch a little bit before we get started. And I am very happy to tell you that Kathy Tenney is going to assist me as she did with Molly Helmlinger this morning on transitions through slides, etc. Michelle, I'd like to learn how to do that from you.
I actually have yours pulled up because you were still logged in. So
okay. Oh, my dues portal.
Yes, I'm pretty sure it's still here. So
okay, well, that would be great. And
that I can help out.
So, and Kathy's got the slides and some other documents. So let's just stand up a minute, just kind of turn around, whatever you need to do, get a drink or get that Snickers bar.
Melody.
Yes.
This is Nancy Schuster. I'm going to be president in the next biennium. Can you tell me when the website will update me to the president status?
I can't tell you that yet this time, but I will be able to tell you probably in a couple of months. So we're working on that, updating it as soon as we can.
All right. Thank you so much.
Yes.
I think Diana has that answer because I remember in her presentation yesterday, her sharing when things would turn over for international anyway. So maybe we can have her answer that when she comes back.
Okay. International, though, is different from OSO. So I thought she was referring to OSO.
Yeah, but your chapter officers, if they send in the Form 110 that goes to membership, that will be on the port, should be on the port when we go in, those of us that have access.
Right. That as soon as that form is sent in, that will go up at international on the website. So that will be
July 1st.
Right, that will be changed over on the international website. That will go in. But as far as OSO, as I said, give us a couple of months to work on that. But at the international one, those will change over as soon as again we're waiting again for all of them to come in, all of those Form 110s to come in. And they get them first, and then I get the notification. And then what I've been doing is as soon as I get them, I send a little blurb out to the chapters letting you know that I've received them. And again, you have to keep in mind, they are updating all of the states. So give them a little grace because again, they'll be coming out real soon. But give us a little time in Ohio, but we will have them again, getting them ready for you in a couple of months on the Ohio side of things.
So Kathy, would you mind bringing up my PowerPoint? Thank you. So welcome back. I hope you had a Snickers break or a refreshment of some kind or brought something back with you. As we conclude today, I just thought it was probably a good idea to come back full circle and ask ourselves, why in the world are we using an Indiana Jones theme in order to provide training for you? And it's an old series, and many of us have seen at least one or more of these Harrison Ford adventures. But as you recall, he was an archaeologist, and he was on an important quest. Just like, you know, many of you took on something, and he wasn't sure he was going to make it, but he did. And just like you, we are confident that you're going to make it. He was a success. You're going to be a success. His determination reminds each of us, step out of our comfort zones, seize and grab onto opportunities. Our chapter treasurers tend to be those officers that remain over an extended period of time. You transition every 2 years and create a new team in your biennium, but your treasurer is often the one who is a more consistent individual. Her legacy is, and her knowledge in terms of chapter history and understanding is invaluable to you. And you are so lucky if you have a new treasurer. You are also lucky if you have a returning treasurer. Our treasurers are like glue as far as I'm concerned. They connect and hold together our chapters and connect the chapter to the state organization to the international organization. And I would ask you not to think of it as a pyramid, but as a string, as a long band that stands together, creating the foundation for each membership. Jones teaches us, as you can see here, that tough work has big payoffs. Michelle talked about this, talked about opportunities and go big when she talked about membership. That's kind of the way Indy treated all of his adventures. He went big, didn't he? We expect you and hope that after today and hope after today's informal and formal training sessions that, as Michelle said, and each person said, reach out to us. We also hope that you feel, as Indy did, courageous. Try something new. Be energetic in your efforts. That's contagious. Be enthusiastic. That's also how leaders get others to have that kind of enthusiasm and energy. Molly's earlier comments, the leap into leadership that we started our day with, really talked a lot about attitude and how important attitude was. And you really set the bar for attitude at the chapter level. And might as well smile. What do you have to lose? The next slide, we'll come back to the checklist, but I think that's where the tough work is. The tough work is really at the checklist level, and we'll come back to that. Kathy, you're not able to bring that up at this time, are you? Okay, we'll just continue. There it is, there it is, there it is, there it is. Okay, thanks, Kathy. Thanks very much. So if you downloaded this, I would like to highlight, as everyone has done, the handbook. And those particular pages deal with finance. If you are a new treasurer, look at them. If you are a returning treasurer, I'm going to note some pages that are especially important. We just heard from our president the importance of Form 110. And ladies, it is Form 110 that opens the door to your credentials. If you're a treasurer, it's going to open the door to the dues portal. If you're a president, it's going to open the door to a membership roster, a database of members. And it's critically important that that Form 110 be completed by you or your previous administration so that credentials can be recorded and information sent to membership chairman, EEC chairman, chairman of your finance committees, etc. So that Form 110 is critically important. Form 87 is important to ensure that International knows that there's a change of treasurer. I communicate regularly with the treasurers. I will continue to do that, and there'll be a message coming out from me in the next few days, reminding everyone about the importance of 87. Meyer talked a lot about the importance of minutes as a legal document. Many of you are new to your position. If your treasurer is returning, but you as a president are new to your position, or if your treasurer is retiring and you are new to that position, it is absolutely important to update your signature cards at the bank. And the only way, and I use the word only with great confidence, that you can do that is with a copy of the minutes that are signed or initialed and dated, in which the new officers are identified by first and last names. You may want to call your bank, talk to a local branch manager or whomever you do business with regarding this update. Some banks, regional banks and national banks, will allow you to do that virtually. You do not have to appear in person. I cannot speak for every bank or financial institution in your area, but the importance of having updated signature cards and having two people have access to the financial the finances of your chapter are without question one of the most important things that you should do very shortly after July the 1st. Very shortly after. If you can do it before, I would do it before. That's critically important. The next item, I'm not going to go through each of them, but these first few are really important. If you are transitioning from one office to the other, raise your hand if you have received or expect to receive boxes of stuff. We all know that chapters, their records they're just boxes and boxes of stuff. On page 12 of that handbook that we've been talking about, you know where it is. You've also downloaded it, I hope, is a retention and destruction policy, so that you know if you receive those boxes, what you can destroy and what you must retain. Meyer absolutely spoke of the importance of retaining your minutes permanently. I think Joyce even spoke about that. But there are many other records that you do not need to keep over a certain period of time. And if they're not mentioned at all, they don't need to be kept at all. I would encourage you, for the security of members, that any record that contains an address, an email address, a phone number, be shredded. And if you don't have access to a shredder, typically a local Staples store will do that for you. If you remind them that you're a teacher and remind them that you are doing community work, etc., they'll often do that for you with no charge. But definitely destroy appropriately, shred appropriately anything with records. We know the importance of disbursements. We talked about how you record those revenue, expenses, or disbursements that come out of your chapter, and then what your balances are. Make sure that you, as the treasurer, are never, and I'm going to use the word never, which is a strong word, writing a check or paying a bill that your chapter incurs using the chapter checking account without a signed voucher that is signed by the president, or if your chapter rules indicate otherwise, a person who has been designated to provide that signature to you. And the reason I say that, ladies, is you are handling other people's money. Both the president and the treasurer are responsible for handling other people's money. And you never, ever want to write a check that has not had the approval, because it's been budgeted, because it is a motion has been made or whatever, that allows that check to be written. just having a budget is not approval to write a check. A budget is a plan. It's not an approval. So make sure that you have some way of getting your president's signature before you write checks. Coming up July 1, not before July 1 and not after November 15th, each treasurer has another financial and legal responsibility, and that is the filing of the 990N. It's 8 simple questions. They do not require any financial disclosures. Mostly what it requires is your name, your website, and your email address and password, and verification that your chapter does not have revenue of over $50,000 during the fiscal year that you are reporting in. Failure to file the 990 jeopardizes your chapter, and in 3 consecutive years of not filing, your chapter is simply automatically dissolved as a chapter. It just goes away from the IRS, and the IRS, unfortunately, maintains contact with the international organization. And if you want to be reinstated, you must go through a very, very, very lengthy legal process, well beyond what Delta Kappa Gamma asks you to do. So I urge you, chapter treasurers, to not ignore that. I remind you, there'll be training on that. We have treasurer talks that occur regularly, quarterly, out of the International Finance Committee's office, and the October treasurer talk will be on filling out the 990N. Also, back to the handbook, and just sliding down just a little bit, Kathy, to the Financial Review Committee. There it is. In the past, you have had an internal Financial Review Committee that has used a little checklist, which was a separate little portfolio, a separate little leaflet that I distributed. That information is now on page 16 in the handbook. I would encourage chapters to make a copy of that, because it is not exactly in checklist format. It's in a numbered format. And that numbered format just takes that internal review committee through each question and each item that they need to look for as they are doing that review. And I would absolutely hope that at the end of that the chapter chairman of that review committee or finance committee chairman, whomever is in charge of that, would sign that and give that back to the treasurer so that she can keep a record of that. If the committee finds that there are any notes that they would like to make, those notes are made at the next chapter meeting following that internal review, and they would either state the review has been completed and we have nothing to note, or the review has been completed and we would like to note the following items for either correction, the following items to be followed in the future, or whatever. So it's really an opportunity to put in the minutes that it's been done and whether or not there were any corrections or not. Also in July, as stated earlier, Kathy Tenney brought it up. It's been stated a couple of times that all the treasurers must complete a Form 15. And Form 15 is the document in which you declare the number of members that you had in the previous year. The dates are very clear. The dues portal closes, and you know that after the dues portal reopens in April of 2024, May of 2024, June of 2024, etc., that all those ladies that you may have inducted or accepted dues from, you are accepting dues from them for the 24-25 fiscal year. So the data that we're collecting is a year-old data. We're also asking you to help us better understand your philanthropy by recording the financial or the monetary awards that you have given to members, how many and how much. 6 awards, you don't have to tell us who got them, 6 awards totaling $7,500 to members. How many awards or monetary donation, gifts, awards. Awards is probably the best term. For non-members, again, how many and how much. The form will also ask you for your bank balance at the end of the year. So we need to know what your financial position is. If you have a large bequest that is in your asset group, it's not a part of your day-to-day checking account operations, we ask you about those assets as well. Legally, again, we are asking you because those dollars do not belong necessarily to every member of the chapter, because those dollars belong to every previous member of your chapter as well. So they're not just the monies of the chapter, they are likely the monies that your chapter has been instructed to use in a specific way. So we ask you to include that as well. I believe, Kathy, that outside of this, the very bottom, I have a typo. Of course, you know, Indy doesn't do everything right? So neither does Diana. So I goofed. The second to the last item, which says a chapter contribution may be made. And you heard from Kathy in her Gold Key application that you may make donations to, I believe, the foundation, which is DKG, which is ADS, no, ADS, what is it? ADS, Educational Foundation, Alpha Delta State Educational Foundation. You may also make a donation to the international organization, and I put an F where the G should be. So it should state DKGIEF. And then there was a third opportunity for you to make a chapter contribution. I think that was World Fellowship. So all of that being said, I think that that's the tough work. Treasurers do more tasks than any other office. There's more things that have to be done within a time frame that must be adhered to. So I really put that checklist out there just for your use and to keep you on track. Kathy, is it okay? I'll tell you what, we won't go back to the slides. However, let's stay right where she is on chapter management procedures. My slide had a quote from Indy, which says, "Fortune and glory, kid, fortune and glory." The Temple of Doom is where that quote came from. And I always think about calculated risks have big payoffs. When we talk about management procedures, there are some things that will change, and that is going to happen, as Joyce and several has pointed out, at the International Convention next month. One of the things that might change by amendment is a member who fails to pay dues, it's highlighted there, a member who fails to pay dues shall be dropped from membership on October 1. That is the current constitution. That is the current standing rules. That is the current bylaws at OSO. However, that might be changed, ladies, to August 1. August 1 of 2024. That means that a member might not get a general reminder that she hasn't paid her dues if that amendment passes. Instead, she would be dropped from membership. She can always be reinstated. She can always return without fee or penalty to membership, but she is going to get that letter. We'll keep you posted as that information becomes available to us immediately following the convention. The other thing that's kind of wonky, again, by constitutional amendments, and that is the whole business of scholarship fees. Scholarship fees. We have asked that every member except collegiate member is obligated to pay a scholarship fee. If you are in a chapter in which you have a scholarship fund, in the past, you kept almost all of the money. Today, it's likely you're going to keep all of the money. You are not sending any money to Ohio because Ohio doesn't have in our rules nor in our bylaws that you are to do that. If you do not have a scholarship fund, it's established in your chapter. What do you do with a scholarship fee? We don't know yet. So it's a little bit wonky. Chapter treasurers, how does this affect you? You still have to collect it. Still has to be collected, but we're not sure what you should do with it. So I am asking our chapter treasurers to not send any scholarship money until this question gets resolved, both at the international level and at the state level. And let me update you as the year moves forward. So please do not send to the state any fees for scholarship. Hold those in your scholarship fund as you normally do. If you don't have one, just kind of separate those dollars out until we figure out, based on what happens at the Constitutional Convention and rules changes, what's going to happen with that. So those are a quick down and dirty chart. And I will be sending these out to all of the chapter treasurers. Chapter treasurers, you may want to share this with your finance committee. Of course, it's probably a good idea for the president to also understand what these chapter procedures financially include. So it's everything from accounting to the various funds to review, etc. And at the very end of this, chapter financial controls. I spent a little time a moment ago talking about the importance of making sure that your chapter follows a protocol for check writing. I would also remind you that the very last item on this talks about fundraising. And I know that chapters enjoy fundraising and fundraising events. And I'm suggesting that you continue to do that as long as you follow Ohio Revised Code. Games of chance are raffles, split the pot, those kinds of activities, not an auction where you have a buyer and a good that's sold, or a silent auction in which people just keep bidding up an item and a purchaser, consumer who come together one-on-one. Those do not apply to this rule. This rule applies to raffles. And it says to us that according to Ohio Revised Code, under raffles, allows a chapter to hold a raffle because we are an association, not a charity. No matter how many dollars you give away in your scholarships and grants, you're still an association, you're not a charity. That 50%, at least 50% of any raffles or split the pot earnings from that raffle must be donated to an outside charity, a 501c3, which could be the International Foundation, it could be the State Foundation, it could be your local homeless shelter, it could be your domestic violence shelter, it could be a youth group that you have adopted, it could be whatever charity is near and dear to your heart as a chapter, but you don't want to break the law. Because unfortunately, because we handle other people's money, we have laws that we must follow. Because we are beneficiaries of no federal income tax, we have laws that we must follow. So I hope that that is clear, and I will distribute this to all of our treasurers. In addition to all of these kinds of things, I have a chapter calendar. I think almost every presentation except minutes, maybe, had a need for a calendar. How do we keep track of all these dates? How do we keep track of all these things that are due? I will send this to our chapter treasurers as a Word document so that you can include in this document during each month your own chapter business, whether it's a meeting, whether it's a request for a newsletter article for your local chapter. But what I've done is I've attempted to gather international, state, and no chapter information, but you can see that in the month of July, there's a lot to do. In the month of August, there's not so much to do. And of course, as the months go by, that varies. But I remind you, as Kathy Tenney did with her gold key information, to send something on a regular basis. It may or may not get in the voice, but an article, their due date is always the 15th of the month. Pictures, etc., the 15th of the month. Due dates for scholarships that are awarded outside of your chapter at the international levels, those dates are in there. So I'm hoping that a one-place calendar for at least your leadership team can help keep you sort of on track with what do I need to do? When do I need to do it? And it also includes those financial items as well. Let me see if there is anything else that I can tell you about. As I mentioned, there will be treasurer talks quarterly. Those are organized at the international level. The topics will be identified and you will be notified as a chapter officer, treasurer, about those topics and how to log in to those Zoom meetings. As I said, the next one is in October and it'll be on 990 filings. I think you've heard often enough today that bringing your team together more often rather than less often is very beneficial. I think that if you're really going to create the synergy of teams, more is less. No surprises, as Meyer had said in her presentation on minutes. Don't surprise your treasurers or your presidents. Don't surprise the meeting. Make sure that everyone who is making a report, who is conducting the meeting, really understands what's going to happen at the meeting. I encourage you, as you are appointing or asking people to serve on committees, to surround yourself with a diverse team. People that agree with you and people that don't agree with you. And you really want to be looking at skill sets. What is it that people in my chapter, members in my chapter can do and leverage their expertise? If there is someone who loves to plan programs, let her have at it and give her a little team to work with and have those programs off of your plate. Don't do any more than you need to do, except as I always like to think of it, presidencies are like being wagon masters, or Indiana Jones in this case. But the wagon master sort of gets everybody together and keeps the wagon train going forward. And that's sort of what our presidents are challenged to do. Molly this morning called chapter challenges adversity. Challenges are what Michelle talked about when she talked about membership. How do we turn those challenges or those adversities, chapter leaders, into opportunities? Because what in fact they do for us is they give us an opportunity to reframe a challenge or an adversity into an opportunity for our chapter to improve, be more successful, and exactly do what it is that Annie Webb Planton sent us out to do. I'd love to entertain questions. Go to the DUES portal so we can talk about how everyone in your chapter can get information, DKG News, Collegial Exchange, all those kinds of things.
Diana, there are a couple questions here for you before you go
I can't
on.
wait to hear them.
You state that you are sending this to the chapter treasurers. All chapter treasurers or just those in attendance today?
I communicate with all chapter treasurers regularly. I will be sending this to all chapter treasurers in my usual kind of commentary and list of things to do. And here are the enclosures that help you do them. So thank you, Kathy. It will be to all chapter treasurers. And I only do that because I don't have access to the current new presidents. I don't know who you are. And until 110 gets finished, oh, Kathy doesn't know who you are either. We only know the outgoing presidents. We don't have the incoming presidents yet in a complete list. So my treasurers are my link because they are more consistent. I hope that's helpful.
Okay, one more question. Should we shred all documents with contact information of members? Does this include previous yearbooks and newsletters?
That's a great question. I think each chapter is going to decide. Yes, the short answer is yes. If it contains, if any document contains personal information that can compromise a member, her security, cybersecurity is huge, or any personal information about her should be shredded. I think every chapter has to determine, based on how many boxes you're willing to lug around, how many old newsletters you're willing to keep. And I will just do a story that I think many of you have heard. Beth Archer, a previous state president in 2009 and 11, right? 9 to 11, has been a member. I wish I could tell you, I knew off the top of my head how many years, but decades and decades and decades of membership. And she started collecting what was the Voice from, I think, its earliest days, when it was just like a printed piece of paper. And then it became a distributed, professionally printed document that was mailed to every member. And then it was an electronic version. And now, of course, we use the constant contact distribution system. But every print version she kept. And do you know where she kept them? In an old Volkswagen, 1966 Volkswagen that she had in her garage, because she couldn't store them in boxes. There were just too many of them. So there are people who have and respect legacy and history. If you have the space to do it, if you have that Volkswagen in your garage or some other means of storing things, yes. But if you do not, respectfully discard, destroy information that has addresses and emails and phone numbers on. Good to go? Do you know how to make sure that your chapter members get the DKG news from International and the Collegial Exchange magazine, which comes out 4 times a year? If you do, I'm not going to show you how to do it. If you don't, I'll be happy to do a quick run through.
Do you want me to share the screen?
Why don't we do it quickly, and then we can, well, this will be concluded in like 2 minutes. Thank you, Michelle.
You're welcome.
Okay, so chapter treasurers will log in, and you will have your name appear once you've logged in. And then you will go to, in your case, you will have Chapter Connect, and the Chapter Connect will include the database of all current and forever past members in your chapter. Let me use the word again, forever past. If you have never had a clean out of that database, it can hold, depending upon the age of your chapter, hundreds and hundreds of members in this database.
Can I just add, Diana, real quick?
Please, Michelle.
That is how we found people to reinstate. We had our chapter print that list off from many, many years back of people we didn't even know who had been members and could reach out to them. So that is a great way to get that information to know who to reinstate.
Michelle, I thank you so much for saying that. The other thing is that Michelle talked about Form 6, death of a member. In fact, ladies, the only way a member gets removed from that database is through Form 6. Now, if we were pre-Form 6 and a member is deceased and you know about it, You can always contact International, and you can sometimes look at their join date. If their join date is more than 70 years ago, it's likely that they're not, it's likely that they may or may not be with us any longer. And you can search an obituary and determine whether or not your members are in fact there. So if you would, so now look at all of these resources that you have. So you have resources in your State Connect, Treasurer's Talk, which are all recorded. The previous ones and the future ones will be as well. You have training videos about the portal, about other resources. Keep going down. If you could keep going down. Thank you, Michelle. I'm able to do a roster for your chapter with join dates, etc. if you aren't able to. It's really an Excel spreadsheet, and I can organize it easily by chapter. I can always find out who our new members are. I can always find out who our unbilled or members who have not paid yet are. And then further down, I can always determine who in fact has dropped from our list. Our editor has access to this database as well. And Kathy, that gets updated once a year for you. And other times when you learn about a new email address that a member has, encourage that member to communicate that with Kathy. State resources, more and more and more on down. If you could keep going down, see, there's just stuff here. There's just mountains of stuff here. Again, overviews, practice. There's my checklist. It's made it to the international website. And then we've got resources, etc. Forms. Here's your form 87. If you can't find it where Michelle showed you to find it, under forms. If you need a dues reminder, they're here. 990, information about filing that. Form 43, which is a contribution form. There are multiple places where there are resources. But now real quickly, could we go back up to Chapter Connect or State Connect in my case? And of course, I have access to the entire database for the state. I think it's going to open.
Is that what it should look like, or?
No, it should open into a data in chapter names listed.
Is that under?
No, it's right there. Oh,
I think it's down here. Isn't it?
Go to the try dues portal. Try dues portal. See if it'll open there. That's you.
Yeah.
So unfortunately,
now
I think maybe our link might be dead. I don't know. Maybe our link's dead.
I think it won't let me go any farther under you.
But ladies, if your membership would like to have the DKG International News, which comes out every other month on the odd month, so it would be July in this case. The next one will be out in July, obviously then September, then November, etc. All you need to do is go into your dues portal, chapter treasurers, and you can indicate using the member management edit feature at the very bottom of each person's information. There's a checkbox for the international newsletter, and then there's a checkbox for the collegiate membership. So I think, Michelle, you're not able to get in there. However, I can maybe do a little, I'll just check with the chapter treasurers if they'd like to have more information on that. But it's always a good idea, in my opinion, to help people know more, and they can choose not to do anything with it. But not having access to information is really not fair either. So chapter treasurers, I love you. You know that. You're important, each one of you, as a chapter leader. Congratulations to all of you. We wish you well.
We thank you so much. Our Money Matters person, Diana Haskell. our wonderful OSO treasurer. And we thank you for sharing with us all about why treasurers are a treasure. At this time, we just want to ask if there are any more questions, observations, or discoveries that you would like to ask any of our OSO admin committee at this time before we leave you today. All right, that was someone, but I don't think it was for us. If we have no questions or acknowledgements or discoveries, I would like to acknowledge all of the wonderful admin team. And I want to share with you that they have worked so hard and just making this come together. We have been together 2 times this week, an in-person and now a virtual, and we have really tried our best to meet the needs of all of our chapter officers. And we hope that you have gained some information or gained a review of what you needed to know to carry with you through this next biennium. We thank you so much for coming to our very first virtual leadership. And we hope that you have will take away something with you that you did not know when you came aboard today. Again, I want to say thank you to each one of our team members. I want to thank Dr. Molly. I want to thank Kathy, Michelle, Meyer, Diana, let's see who else. I want to thank also Joyce, and I don't think I see anybody else there, do I? Karen. I can't see everybody because everything's all squished up together. And I hope I didn't miss anybody because again, everything's squished together. Debbie isn't with us right now, I don't think. But again, if I missed you, I'm so sorry because again, everything's squished up together in all of our squares. But again, all of my admin committee, thank you so much for making all of this happen. And thank you all again for coming and sharing with us throughout this day. Again, we will be with you. We are standing by if you have any questions, if you need some encouragement, if you just want to say hi to us. We are here for you. We are here with you. We are just a phone call away, a text away, an email away. We are available to you. Though we are your admin team, we are also your sisters in DKG. So please recognize that, acknowledge that. We look forward to meeting with you in the fall at our executive board meeting. It is September the 14th. We will soon have a location for you. And we are excited about meeting with you in person at that time. We think we already know where it's going to be, but we won't let that out of our hat at this time. But again, look at the voice because they'll be coming out soon. We hope that you will, again, not only look at it, but open it up and read the articles because who knows, you might be on there. You might be in there. So you don't want to miss seeing something that you're doing. Again, remember, make sure that your chapter puts in their article or their pictures by the 15th of every month so that they will be included. Again, we say thank you for coming. We say thank you for taking the time out of your day. As you leave us, just remember that you are important, that you are stars, that you are significant in our OSO family of sisterhood. Again, we say thank you for coming. We are, again, with you. We stand by you. And we are, again, a part of each other. Thank you again for coming. And again, have a wonderful rest of your week.
Bye,
Thank
y'all.
you, Dee, for all your work. We
Yeah.
appreciate you.
Yeah.
Everybody's just looking at their screen like you're muted, Molly.
I wanted to see if there was anything the officers wanted to say or do before I checked off.
Well, I just thought we're waiting for Valerie to bye-bye. Hey, Michelle, are we gonna be stewardesses? I hope not.
What?
Are we gonna be stewardesses on the SOAR based on your,
No. I was a little surprised when Meyer pulled out a cape. So, because we're gonna be pulling out a cape. So,
all right. Are we gonna be action figures? Cause I'm gonna think through what I wanna be as an
Yes.
action figure.
we are. So Meyer can use the cape she already has. So, but we're gonna be having capes and masks.
Gosh, I
Ah.
probably have to borrow one
are
from
we
my
Wonder Women?
grandson.
I'll have them from you. You can
Hey,
get
Michelle, are we Wonder Women?
you can be any kind of
You
stuff.
know, like the
Yeah.
1984 movie, you know, well, it was
Yeah.
before, I mean, it was made after 1984.
I'm not gonna put that outfit on.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to hit the gym a lot before,
Really?
if we have to put that outfit on.
I found a pack that just has different colors. So yeah, I'm having fun with that. I'm already accumulating things, and we're gonna have instead of a treasure chest, we're gonna have we're gonna have a sack full of things that
Oh, cool.
so
Cool.
so it'll be fun.
Utility belt for action figures.
I
That's
thought
right.
about the utility belt, but I was like, cheaper, I can find a utility bag. So we're gonna go with a utility bag.
All right, all right.
It'll be fun.
Yeah.
Good.
Yes.
All right. I wonder if Valerie just sort of left us, you guys, and doesn't realize the meeting is ended because, you know, technically we're going to end later.
Yeah, my guess is that they're,
Yeah, me too. Mhm. You know,
but
like I shared with you guys, I don't permit that, you know, when teaching a class. No.
you want to see their face?
I want to see them. You know, if you have to take a potty break, fine, like I do, you know, no big deal.
Yeah.
But come back, come back, come back. Yeah, I thought it went really well, you
I
guys.
thought it did too.
You know, for our first efforts.
Haskell,
and,
you're muted.
Thanks so much for recording this too, Kathy, because are you going to do these in segments or is it just